What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be doing a review on the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Star Raider Lockdown. Now, I understand that Lockdown isn't necessarily like conformed to just animated, because that is the Lockdown. The only Lockdown besides the Bayformer one that I know for years, I'd known for years, was the Lockdown from animated. Like, that was my introduction into the character, and I think also for many people who are my age, that might have been their introduction to Lockdown. But I'd love to get educated on why it's like Star Raider. I believe that they said that they can't call it animated because it's not limited to that continuity. But for those of you who know more about this character than I do, I would love to hear, like, in the comments below, like, what continuity necessarily does this Lockdown represent? Because for me, I can't really compare it to what I know for Lockdown, because I know it's not necessarily the animated version. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. It's just, I know this isn't technically animated Lockdown, but it's kind of the closest thing we've gotten, which is why I decided to pick this guy up, actually, and the other reason is because I found him at Walmart the other day. So, but yeah, getting into the box here. I see the nice art of Lockdown here. You can also see the nice Star Raider Lockdown there with his logo. There you do see the Transformers logo, Legacy United, Generations, Takara Tomy, more Legacy United up here. Nice artwork here of Mr. Lockdown, and then more nice artwork here of the 40 years of Transformers. And finally, here are your obligatory product shots. Transforms in 17 steps. So overall, as per usual, I think Hasbro kills it with the box. And so, without further ado, okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Star Raider Lockdown in his vehicle mode. Now, if you guys don't notice with this figure is a remold and a repaint of the Legacy Axle Grease, which was the Decepticon version of the Junkion fossilizer, type, weaponizer type, Transformers. Now, the thing is with this mold is that this started off as Legacy Scraphook. I believe Legacy Evolution it was for Scraphook. They redid it into Tow Line from RID. They redid that into Axle Grease, and then they redid Axle Grease into this. So this is a remold and a repaint of a remold and a repaint of a remold and a repaint of a mold. So it's kind of like, if you guys know cars, this is like the M2 Grand Coupe being a four-door version of a two-door version of a four-door car. And it's kind of redundant. And for me, I'm going to tell you this right now, that's my biggest issue with this figure, is I think that Lockdown as a character, especially even being a deluxe, I think this guy deserves to be Voyager at least. I feel that it's not doing the character justice by just making him the fourth version of a mold. Now, don't get me wrong, the vehicle mode here actually looks really nice. I can't complain that they actually ended up using that vehicle mode, because it does fit Lockdown very well. You can see the spikes here, the green's nice, the engine is obviously really nice. You got this nice serrated front bumper, you got the nice headlights there as well. Silver rims here, black wheels. The black paint's also nice, more green up here. You get the gold here, you get the little hook here, which will become his actual hook in robot mode. But overall, I am just a bit disappointed that they didn't just decide to go with a whole new mold for Lockdown, because I want an animated Lockdown. I would not be at all angry to get an animated version of Lockdown, because that was my introduction to the character. It's the character that I know the best for Lockdown, that I at least remember the most of. I don't really care all that much for the Bayformer one. And so when it comes to this version of Lockdown, I felt that he was always a character that could stand up to Optimus Prime, and when you have a deluxe figure like this, it just doesn't feel like that's much of an event. And again, it's the fourth time they've done this mold to my knowledge, and that just doesn't do this character justice in my opinion. So it's a bit of a shame. Now, I would do comparisons with Scraphook, but Scraphook is locked in my shelf right now, and it's a real pain to get him out. So for the time being, we are not going to be doing that comparison, so I'll do a quick comparison here. So we're going to set this guy off to the side. And here he is with Legacy United Magnus. As you can see, average deluxe size, but again, I just really find that I wish that this guy had his own mold. I mean, it's just a real disappointment that he has to be a remold and a retool of a remold and a retool of a remold and a retool of a mold, right? It's just really, it's really suck. I think that they could have done a bit better. You can see the size is fine there when it comes to deluxe size. But overall, again, I just wish that this guy got the justice he deserved with a whole new mold. And so it's a bit of a shame that that's the case. Now, to show you guys the differences in the molding, I believe that the major differences here is obviously you get the engine here, you get obviously the new paint. I believe these spikes are a bit different as well, and I think this section might be a little bit different as well. I don't have axle grease to compare, but when it comes to scrapbook, you obviously see the big difference. You have a pickup truck, tow truck versus a car like this. So, yeah. Now, when it comes to the transformation, it's perfectly fine, but because this is the 4th time this mold has existed, I'm not going to be doing the transformation or anything like that. So, with a little bit of editing, we are going to be taking Lockdown from this in his vehicle mode, and we'll turn him into this in his robot mode. And so, guys, when it comes to his robot mode, this is fine. It does look really nice, especially, I think the head sculpt looks pretty cool. You can see the nice red eyes there, the silver for the face, and then the black and the green. It does look really cool, and you can also get the hook, so to do this, so when you split those two back pieces off, you can actually just, when you get the hook off, you just have that peg right there. It's 10.5mm, and you can just shove it in there. And you have 2 locations for pegs. You can obviously peg it into whichever, but this is the one that obviously makes it look a bit better. And I left the engine parts down here as well, just so I actually twisted them around so that they can actually fit on here relatively nicely. But he does look really cool, and I do think that the mold is pretty neat, and I do like it for axle grease and for scrap hook, and I think for tow line it also looks pretty cool. But when it comes to this guy, I just feel like it's a sense of they didn't do the character justice. He does look good. I mean, we're looking at more at the details. We'll see the chest does look pretty nice. The nice details going across. Overall, he does look nice, and he cleans up very well. Like, there's nothing. You do have the weaponizer gimmick where you can remove the limbs, but I don't care to do that with the mold like Lockdown. Lockdown should just be, you know, Lockdown. You shouldn't have to do that weaponizer crap or anything like that, although the weaponizer stuff is cool. It's just, to me, I don't know, I still feel like they could have done more with this character rather than just redo and remold him. I know that the real crux of this, and the reason that they did this was because the mold does fit him well, but it could have been nicer if they upscaled it, or if they removed the weaponizer thing. I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of the concept of how this figure exists, right? It's just a little bit like, they don't do the character justice in my opinion here. So we're going to do a quick comparison, set this guy up to the side here. Once again, here he is with Magnius, obviously the official deluxe, regular deluxe size. You can see these two are about eye to eye, and then you just have a little bit of extra height with the mufflers there and the wheels and everything like that. But overall, the size is perfectly fine when it comes to this. But for me, it really sucks because this guy should, in my opinion, be Optimus Prime, like animated Optimus Prime size. Again, I know they couldn't call him animated, but at the same time, when it comes to this character, I just really wish that they just gave this guy a whole new mold rather than just making him the 4th version of a mold that already exists. Right, folks, sorry if like I'm a little bit ranty or anything like that, or this review seems a little more like underwhelming or I'm disappointed. It's just this figure, although it does look nice in a vacuum, at the end of the day, the concept of this figure's existence, like I mentioned before, just leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. This character deserves more than a figure like this. And it's not that the figure itself is really bad, it's just the character that this is. I mean, Lockdown is Lockdown. Like, this is a very fan favorite popular character, and I really do think that they could have done better with giving this character its own mold, his own, you know, sculpt. I think they could do better. I hope they revisit this and give us a full bore animated version of Lockdown, but for the time being, this is the best we got. And again, it still represents the character just fine. It's just, again, I just don't think doing a 4th version of a mold will do this character justice. That's just my opinion. But articulation, he's perfectly fine. So you do have a swivel at the head, so you can do a full 360. You do get those joints at the shoulder, so you can do full 360 there. 90 at the elbow. You get a tiny bit of leg back, but not really. And whoops, that's my fault there. I thought you could. Yeah, let me do this. You can twist this, which is nice, so you do get some nice articulation. You do get 90 at the elbow as well. Even without the gun, you do get the 90. You do get full waist, which is really, really nice. You can you can go out this far. It's limited by how that's designed, which sucks. But you can go kick forward. You can kick back really far. 90 at the knee, rotation here at the knee, and you do get some ankle rockers, so you can get some nice poses out of this guy. Again, it's just the concept of this figure's existence to me is the rough part about this figure overall. So yeah. Alrighty guys, time to get into the reverse transformation, which is just perfectly fine. I think it's a little more frustrating to get this guy into vehicle mode because the arms are always a pain for me whenever I transform this mold in general. I'm not a fan of the arms. But just like with before, we're going to take Lockdown from looking like this And back to this in his vehicle mode. Real quick, sorry guys about the instructions being completely wrecked because that's how they came in the box, so very unlucky, but what are you going to do? So, for my final concluding thoughts on the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Star Raider Lockdown, this is just, in my opinion, a bit disappointing. Although that the mold itself is fine and the figure itself in a vacuum is perfectly fine, and I do think that he represents what Lockdown should look like, you know, the greens, the reds, the hook, it's all there. It's just, I think that making him a remold of a remold and a retool of a remold and a retool of a remold and a retool of a mold is a bit disingenuous to the character as a whole, and I really would like them to revisit Lockdown as a whole. And for me, even though that this is going to be my current stand-in for an animated Lockdown, this is not going to more than likely be my final version of Lockdown until we actually get, you know, a proper version, in my opinion, of Lockdown. Again, the vehicle mode and the robot mode look perfectly fine. The articulation is good in the accessories. Really cool, but the weaponizer gimmick doesn't fit this guy at all, in my opinion. And when it comes to just the concept of why this figure exists, you know, and like the fact that they could have done a whole new mold for this guy, you know, made this guy really like an event, and I think that Lockdown should be an event as a fan favorite character. I just think that it's a bit disappointing where they went with this guy. So overall, I'm going to be giving this guy probably like a 6 out of 10. I just feel like that it's above average, it's fine, but again, the concept of this figure is just not like its existence does not sit right with me, and I think for a good chunk of people it also doesn't sit right. But again, I'd love to hear like why they call it Star Raider. I'd love to hear the continuity and stuff in the comments below if you guys have that information. Would I recommend picking this guy up? Not really. I don't think he's necessarily worth your money. Maybe just wait for them to actually do a proper Lockdown before you buy this guy. And if you do decide to, I mean, he's hitting stores right now, so I did pick mine up in real life at a Walmart, so check your stores now if you guys haven't. You might end up finding this guy instead of having to buy him online. But if you do want to buy him online, he is on Big Bad Toy Store, Hasbro Pulse. I'll leave links in the description to those as well as Amazon, so you guys can go and take a look at those retailers if you prefer online shopping. And so I think that's really about it. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also follow me in the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. And with that, guys, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.